Hello, welcome to my channel, Sam Hikes the World. Today I am covering day 4 of the West Highland Way, where we went from Rowardennan to Ardlui and actually had to take a ferry across Loch Lomond to get to Ardlui. This is renowned as the hardest section of the trail, particularly the second half of this day, where you're hiking right along the banks of Loch Lomond, and there's just a lot of up and down and roots and rocks and things to go over. It's not impossible. Anybody can do it. I'm hiking with my wife Christy, brother-in-law Eric, and sister Cindy. We're all upper 50s. We didn't have any trouble doing it. We are in good shape and we all work out and do stuff, but it was challenging. And for us today, the challenge was especially great because it rained. It rained and rained and rained. After about the first hour, it rained all day long. Not Southeast Georgia deluge rain, but significant, moderate to sort of heavy rain all day. By the way, when you hike the West Highland Way, your individual impression of a day is absolutely impacted by the weather, and I'll share that right now. For me, day 4 in this section was more about accomplishment than enjoyment. That's terrible to say that, but you're just trying to make it through the muck and the mire and get yourself to the end. But the day didn't start out that way. We didn't know it was going to rain. We saw the night before we were in for it the next day based on the radar. We got up in the morning and saw the same thing. We couldn't start until 8 o'clock because we had to pick up sandwiches at the shop there at Rowardennan, and they don't open till 8, and they bring this whole tray of sandwiches down, which was great. There's plenty of food. You don't have to worry they'll run out, and you can buy some stuff for lunch. This is the first day we actually had to buy stuff for lunch, and we were actually stopping at a hotel along the way in Inversnaid, I don't know if I pronounced that right, where they weren't going to be able to serve us food, but they had a big room where you could eat the food that the hikers were packing through. So we were set up for that, and we hit the road. Weather was nice. We got a good start. If you look at the photo montage behind me, you can watch the smiles across this day slowly turn to frowns and bitter laughter at some point as we get to the end. But early in the day, had great weather, had our rain gear easy access because we knew we were going to need it. There was a low road, high road choice for a couple of miles right after you leave Rowardennan. Normally, the low road was actually closed for construction this past summer, and spring and summer. So we actually had to take the high road, which, while it has more elevation, is considered a little bit easier because you're not doing some of that up and down right along the side of the lake. You did walk through a really nice pine forest, though. Again, felt very Georgian in some ways, southeastern United States, Smoky Mountain kind of stuff. So we really got off to a good start and really enjoyed it. And almost right on cue at 9:30, here came the rain. That's fine. We were prepared for it. Put on our rain gear, our rain pants. We already had rain boots. We all were walking in rain and waterproof hiking boots. We had gaiters. We were set. And then the first 3 days, we hadn't really needed much more than a rain jacket. We were proud of ourselves. We had all the stuff we needed, had our pack covers on, and we hiked on. The place we were going to have lunch that day was about 8 miles into a 13 and a half, 14 mile day. We found ourselves feeling like, hey, I feel pretty wet through this rain gear and all this hard rain as we got more and more miles into it. It started to become a little bit of a slog. We were really looking forward to getting in someplace and having some lunch in the dry, which is a really nice feature, to be honest with you. And we hiked our way. There's a beautiful waterfall before you get to the hotel at Inversnaid, and then we had to hike down a significant bit, walk through the rain across a patio, and join all these other hikers in taking all our rain gear off in this entry foyer. There's not even anywhere to put your stuff. You're just trying to keep it grouped together so you can find it when you come back out. My shirt was completely soaked underneath, as were everyone else that was hiking with me. So much for that. I actually brought a spare shirt, and so I was going to change into that before we were done with lunch. They do have a bar there. We could have bought a beer or something, or wine. We actually all bought sodas. We knew that was going to be available. This particular day, they weren't cooking food. You really have to check. It has to do with whether they have it's a day where they're going to have other people. It's kind of a bus-in hotel. But we had our own food. We sat down. They have this whole room separated out for hikers, these long oak tables. We sat down at the table, had our lunch, tried to dry out a little bit, had a few laughs, and prepared ourselves for the next 5 miles, which really is considered the hardest 5 miles in and of itself of the West Highland Way. Luckily, we were doing it in the rain, in the mud, in the slick, and already kind of wet. I was able to change my shirt. Some of the other folks with us didn't have that ability. Our luggage had shipped on to the next inn, so if you didn't pack it in your pack that morning. But by the time I put my jacket back on over it, I felt like my shirt was wet already anyway, because the inside of my jacket was wet. Put all our rain gear back on, head on down the road. So this next 5 miles is tougher than the rest of the West Highland Way, but it's not like it's really tough trail. I mean, we hike a ton in the southeastern, the Smoky Mountains, the Appalachians. It's very similar to that. All right. There's a lot of roots. There's a lot of rocks. You go up 5 feet. You go down 5 feet. Sometimes you need, it's not really scrambling, but you might need a hand to balance you as you go up or down. The fact that it was soaking wet made it a little more difficult because things were slick and some of the rocks were slick. And then there was big mud patches where you're stepping in mud and just really getting yourself kind of dirty. But that was okay. You know, we went on and worked our way through it. We did hear something for the first time in my life. I didn't even know it existed. We actually heard a cuckoo bird, which I thought were just made up and put in clocks, but Lord Almighty, they're real in Scotland. So let's take a listen to this cuckoo bird. That's pretty awesome, right? We thought that was really neat. Then we got to the place where we're supposed to pick up the ferry. The ferry goes to Ardlui, and you have to raise this ball on a rope to go to call the ferry over. But even though you do that, that only tells them to come at their next schedule, which is once an hour. So we sat in a driving rain, in a midge fest, in our midge nets for 45 minutes, waiting for the boat to come across. It seems to me they could have come earlier. I'd have paid them 2-3 times. It was only $6 a person. I'd have gladly paid them $20 a person to come get us earlier. Whatever. They eventually came over. Then you're riding across in an open boat. It's not really a ferry, in the driving rain to get to the other side. Finally get over there. You hike a couple of 100 yards up to your hotel. We are drenched, soaking wet. All right, I'm gonna finish with this. Rain gear is nice. We had high quality rain gear. It should have kept us dry. I've done some research since. If you're in an all-day rain, that rain gear is not going to keep you dry. Forget about your pack cover. Everything in our packs was soaking wet. From that day forward, we put a trash bag liner inside of our packs so that we could keep things dry. Excuse me. Our passports were soaking wet, or 3 of our 4 passports were soaking wet. We had to dry them out. In the end, we had to dry out everything in our packs themselves, all the clothes we wore that day. And spent pretty much the night using hair dryers. My wife brought a hair dryer, which was handy because the one in the room kept burning out trying to use it for more than 45 seconds at a time. We had things hanging on all the vents, the heating areas, hanging in the bathroom, hanging everywhere. We did eventually get it all dried out and ready to go the next day, but it was a tough slog of a day. You know, it was about 14 miles. The last 11 of which were through the rain, very difficult terrain. And honestly, I think we were all a little bummed out by the end of that day, but that's also part of the experience. And so we just took it as it came. So we're onward to the next day, which is, I think, about 16 miles. And by the next morning, we're all in great spirits and looking forward to it. So hope you check out my next video on that. Thanks. And remember to hit that subscribe button.